Hello, and welcome to the channel. It's puzzle time again with a new case for you with Sudoku Sleuth. Today's case is about helping a little girl, Nala, find her toy that's out there in the fog. If you've not seen fog-style Sudokus before, then you're in for a treat. It's essentially covering the entire grid, and it allows you to see a very clear path, no pun intended, that logically allows you to reveal the grid and allows you to complete it. Now, I'll explain how fog Sudokus work in a bit more detail once we get onto the rules. Now, on this channel, we are often solving Sudoku variants, meaning they're Sudoku puzzles with a twist that allows us to fill in a grid that's completely devoid of numbers. Now, today I can't say for certain that the grid has no numbers as it's largely covered, but at least it appears to be once again no exception, and Sandra has generously given us 0 digits in the grid. So let's take a look at today's rules. Nala lost her toy in the fog again. Can you help her find it? Normal Sudoku rules apply, so the digits 1 through to 9 in every row, column, and box in the grid. Arrow, digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in the circle. So we can see a bit of an arrow in here, and presumably there'll be a circle somewhere out there in the fog. That will be the sum of these two cells, or possibly more. We will discover. Elements of the same color are connected. So presumably that means this red and this red are somehow connected. And that's probably where we need to actually have the break-in for the puzzle, given what would likely be a very long arrow to get us to this circle and this sum. Let's continue. Fog of war. So this is the bit that may be new to some of you. The grid is partially covered in fog. Placing correct cells will clear the fog from surrounding cells, possibly revealing more clues. So I'm not going to try and place any numbers, although I'm fairly sure this is not a 1. But essentially, if we place the correct digit in here, what it would do is reveal these two cells. All the adjacent cells will be cleared of fog and will allow us to get more clues to complete this Sudoku puzzle. Is there any more rules? No, that's it. Nala will be thrilled about your help. So as usual, if you wish to play along, link is in the description down below. And with that said, let's restart the clock and let's get on with solving this puzzle. So as I was saying in the introduction, I'm immediately drawn to this red arrow clue, because you can see from this line is this absolutely has to be part of it. So do these two cells, and somehow we need to join them all. And the minimum you can join it would be something along these lines. That is the minimum, meaning that's 1, 2, 3. That would be a 6. That's 1, 2. That's a 3 for a sum of 9. So if I just clear these colors, this cannot be any smaller than 9. And as I suspected, this is part of the arrow. This will be part of the arrow. That's 1, 2, 3. And now that we've used 1, 2, and 3 in box 1, the minimum these two cells can be is 4, 5, and that already adds up to 9. So I'm pretty confident this has to be a 9, and the actual arrow clue cannot extend beyond these two cells. Fantastic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6, 7, 8. I'm looking at this blue arrow now. So that's 1, 2, 3 again. That's the minimum this can be. 1 and 2 are already taken up here. And therefore this minimum is 3. So that's 6, 3. That's again another 9. And it has to be in here. This arrow cell cannot, this arrow clue cannot be any longer. So that's a 3. That's not 3. That's a 3 because we have got a 1, 2 pair looking at it in this column. So that's 3. neither of these are 3. Notice that 3, pardon me, let me just disable check pencil marks, and we're off and running. So what else do we know? So this cell catches my attention because if you think about it, it's joining at least 2 cells. We can see that it's joining a cell that may be a circle or a cell here that may be a circle, but regardless, this is summing up at least 2 cells. Now, the minimum these 2 cells can be, so if they're both in box 2, these would have to be 4, 5. If it's joining in box 3, as in the circle is in box 3, sorry, so if this is these 2, pardon, I'm not being very articulate here. So if it's these are the 2 cells are on the arrow and this is the circle, yeah, that doesn't work because we've got 9s looking at it. Let me finish my thought, apologies. So we've got 3 possible cells that I'm just actually going to color here that are all on this purple arrow. And the thing is, the minimum this can be is 4, minimum this can be is 4, and therefore the minimum this can be and the maximum is 8. Now, if we try it the other way around, this would require this to be a 5, a 4-5 pair, and this would therefore have to be a 9, which would conflict in the row. So in fact, the arrow clue is this way round, and this is the 8, with 3 cells that add up to 8. So that's got to be a 1, and either 3 and 4, which is not possible because we've got a 4 in the same box, or 2 and 5. And do we know about the order of these at all? I suspect we will. I mean, regardless, we've got a triplet in row 1, so this has to be the 4. This has to be the 5. That's not a 5. That's a 1-2 pair in row 2 as well. And we've got 2 numbers that add up to whatever this digit may be. Once again, the minimum this can be is a 4. We've got 1, 2, and 3 in the row, and therefore the minimum this can be is an 8, and it is indeed the maximum as well because we've got a 9. So that's an 8, that's 4. Anything else that would allow us to complete this? So that's not 8. We need a 5 on row 3. Can't be in box 3 because we need the 5 up here. So that's a 5 joined with a 6, 7 pair. 1, 2, 5, 3. You can see is taken on row 2, and that's the only possible place where the 3 can go. Joined by what looks like a minimum of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all gone. And in fact, if we go any higher than 6, then this would not be possible. So that's 6, 9, 7, 6. In fact, we know the order of these, 7 and 8. 1, 2 pair, so the missing digit is a 7. And the missing digit in here is a 6. Let's take a look at this orange arrow cell. So we've got 3 cells that add up to either a 6 or a 7, since in the column we've already got 9 and 8. So we know we need a 1 on these, and it will be joined with either a 2, 4 or a 2, 3 to add up to 7. 4 is already in here, so this must be a 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 set. That's not 3. Therefore, this is 6. 6 has to be down here somewhere. 4 has to be down here somewhere. Is there any other clues that help us figure out what any of these are? So we still need to place 5, 7, 8, and 9. So this is 5 or 7, 5, 8 or 9. And these two are, well, actually they're not the same. That's not 9. We need to place 5, 7 or 8 in row 4. Yeah, that's correct. So this has to be the 5. That's not 5. 7, 8. So that's the 7. That's the 8. These are not 8. We have a 5, 7, 9 set, and the 7 is on row 6. So I'm taking a look at these clues here. I mean, we know very little about this arrow clue. You know, we don't know if it carries on vertically or if it veers off. The only thing that we do know is the remaining cells have got to be from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9. 9 is not here. 9 is here. And that's really not enough to try and actually figure out what this arrow clue is. So let's have a think about these for a second. And what's interesting about them is we already have one of the digits, one of the sets of the digits 1, 2 taken. So this could, these sets, the minimum they can be is 1 coupled with a 4 or 2 coupled with a 4. Let me think about this a bit more. I mean, and the same is true for the green cells over here. And that's maybe a little bit more interesting because we've got this cell telling us that it's kind of highly unlikely that this is the circle end, the sum bit of the arrow clue. Let's see what these digits can be. So they can be one of 1, 2. Remember, only one of them. Can't be 3, can't be 4, can't be 5, can be 6 or 9. So this could be a 1, 6 pair, for example, adding up to a 7. It can't add up to a 5, really. Could actually be anything other than this example. So can't be 5 because there's just nothing small enough to be able to make it add up to a 5. 1, 6 seems to be the only real possible option. 2 doesn't help us. It's just too big. And there's no way it seems to be able to get to a 9 since, yeah, it can't be 1, 8. It's not 2, 7. It's not 3, 6. It's not 4, 5. So this is the 7. Yeah. And this is a 1, 6 pair. That's not 7, therefore that's the 5. That's the 9. That's the 2, 1, 2, 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3 all gone from box number 5. Therefore, the minimum these can be will be 4, 5, adding up to a 9. And again, that will probably tell us the order of this arrow clue, because the 9 can't be in here as it would conflict in the column. This would be a 9. This would be a 4, 5 pair. And that's the minimum and indeed the maximum it can be. And we don't know which way we do actually. That's a 4, that's a 5. That's 1, so we need an 8 in here. Need a 5, 6, 7 set in this column, which appears to be the sum of 2 cells in here and presumably more than 1 cell, otherwise obviously would conflict in the box. So to complete it on this side, we've got a 1, 4, 8. whatever it is not an 8 because that would exceed what was possible in the circle. That's not 8. And to complete the box, we need a 2, 3, 9, it seems. 9, not an 8. Is there anything else obvious? Let's take a look at this column for a second. So I hadn't spotted earlier that the 1 and 2 are already taken, meaning the minimum these two cells can be are 3, 4. So that has to be the 7. This is not 7. We need these two digits to add up to a 7, and clearly this can only be a 1 and 6, with this being the 5. These are not 1. What would it take to complete this? So we need a 6, 7, or 8. That's not 8, that's not 7, and that's not 6. Fortunately, nothing obvious to allow us to disambiguate any of these cells. All right, so it feels like we're being led to this brown arrow clue at this point. Let's have a think about it for a moment. So we said 6 has to be here, 9 has to be here. So the way to interpret this arrow, and I'm trying to think, these are all in there. If it's not a double, so what I mean by a double, if it's not like this 7 where there are 2 edges to this clue, so 2 different arrows that are summing up to the same circle in the middle, the minimum number of cells this would be 4, which obviously was far too many. That would add up to a 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 would add up to 10. So in my mind, these have to be 2 cells at a minimum, 2 cells at a minimum, adding up to this clue in the middle. And therefore, where would we place 9 in box 9, knowing that it has to be in here? It has to be down there. And this would have to be joined with a 6. 1, 2. So we know we need a 6, therefore this has to be a 7 or 8. That's got to be an 8. Just, obviously it has to be greater than 6. 6 and 7 are gone. 9 is in the box and in the column. So that's a 6-2 pair. And that tells us the remainder of these cells. Right? So 4s cannot possibly be in an arrow clue, or 2-cell arrow clue, mind you, for an 8, because that would require another 4 in there. I'm assuming that is Nala's toy. So it's a 4 joined with a 1-7 pair, and we know the order. That's 1, that's 7. We need a 3-5 set, and we don't know the order of that yet. Let's have a look in here. So that's not 1, 2, 3, that's a 4. That's not 1. That's 1 of 2 or 3. Okay. And we need 2, 3, 7. That's a 7. That's another. That's the 2, 3. And it's joined by. Well, it's not. This is not 1. So this has to be a minimum of 2, 3, 4 to add up to a 9. So we know the orders of all of these now. And in fact, all the fog is finally cleared. We should be able to solve it from here. So that's 6, 2. That's the 2. Maybe not just yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Need a 5, 6, 7. 6 is here. 7. Pardon me. 5, 6, 8. I should said. Do we know where the 5 and the 8 go? No, we don't. That's unexpected. It's just Sudoku at this point. I should be able to spot what's left. 5, 4, they can't. Yeah, there you go. 4 is telling us the clue here. That's 8. That's 4, that's 5, that's 8, that's 3, that's 4. That's not 2, not 9, that's 3, that's 9, 3, and 5. Fantastic. Um, well, we've managed to find Nala her toy and return it to her, a 4 nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzle. And if you've not seen Fog Sudoku variants before, that's welcome to them. It's really a new invention in the last few months, but immensely enjoyable. Hope to see you back on the channel again in the future.